The layer of greed is well known for its extreme heat and harsh punishments, but what was existence actually like here, especially during time of insurrection? Here are my ideas. There were 9 primary colonies in the deserts of Greed created centuries ago, later reclaimed during the Sysophian insurrection. They are named after the Muses, the capital being Calliope, the others being Clio, Euryto, Euterpe, Melpomene, Polyhymnia, Terpsichore, Thalia, and Urania. The layer of Greed in particular was always under heaven's watchful gaze, eternal punishment being enforced by powerful demons and angels alike. Only when the war called angels from their posts did sinners opportunistically revolt, led by their proclaimed King Sisyphus. Up until that point, civilization was conducted entirely in secrecy. Greed's brutish reputation skyrocketed during the insurrection, known for their terrifying sinner army unlike anything in history before. The insurrection was especially controversial for its unlawful tactics, but clearly it worked long enough to grant these sinful denizens a brief taste of life. Similar to the layer of lust, while a melting pot of different cultures, Greed never lost its Egyptian, Greek, and Roman roots. While often judged harshly by outsiders, the people of Greed held great camaraderie, deeply valuing bravery, meritocracy, respect, and integrity.
Integrity with one another, not so much outsiders.
Dignity was much less respected for what you had to do and rather how you did it. Everyone in Greed had been forced to do things they weren't proud of, and so a larger sense of respect was formed around how it was carried out. If you hurt someone, you did it with diligence and mutual understanding. If you were abused, you took it with fire in your heart. Those that pushed through were considered respectable. For a long time, a sense of social status formed around heritage and authority. The older, more experienced sinners from ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome had much higher status than the younger sinners of weaker bloodlines. That being said, status was very difficult to maintain under a strict regime and was often abused by the demons and angels in control. Rather, it would shine through in how you were treated by your comrades and the priority of receiving the few rations and treatments available. This sense of superiority from suffering was later torn apart under the Greed insurrection under King Sisyphus, where respect was earned through ability and willingness to try, rather than one's worth and past life. While maintaining their reputation, life in the ranks of the insurrection were, for once, tolerable. While always low on supplies and time, camaraderie and high morals under Sisyphus's radiant leadership kept the fight worth fighting for. Sisyphus ensured any who fought with him reaped the rewards, and any who fought against him were crushed. Terror was the ultimate war tactic to keep heaven and power-hungry at bay. The Greed insurrection heavily utilized demonic and angelic weaponry against their adversaries. Historically, in past wars of hell, it was often common practice to leave the divine dead where they lie in an effort to stave off divine retribution. This was not the case here. Corpses of angels and demons alike were completely looted and stripped, utilizing their bodies as part of the weaponry. Halos were a part of the most desirable and destructive weapons utilized. Insurrectionists creating devices to turn halos into detonatable bombs through controlled shattering. While mostly untrusting towards outsiders, the insurrection was shockingly merciful towards low-ranking angels and demons, albeit in secret. Perhaps there were even a few machines amongst their rankings, identities lost to time.
Also during the Greed insurrection, a major theme of reclamation arose in the artistry and aesthetics which formed. Temples created on the backs of slaves in the name of God were upended, repurposed into living spaces, archives, and communal sanctuaries. While still in its beginnings and fairly neglected due to the demands of wartime, quiet but celebrated cultural expansion movement steadily came about. Art, culinary dishes, music, dances, writing, and symbolism, once repressed, were now allowed to flourish unregulated. Experimentation with medicines, food, and music as means of expression unlocked key aspects of Greed's newly developing identity. After eons of being abused and mocked with the riches they desired in past life, luxury was swapped out for more simplistic living. Trophies were not kept, robes and rags were preferred over silks. Anything considerably rich was typically recycled for war efforts. It was not a rule, and living in squalor was still avoided, but generally, people were just sick and tired of it all.
For a period of time, greed was in close relations with the layer of lust, who may have been trading with them in secret even longer than what's known. Through this trade, modern technology was also reintroduced to greed. However, technology was rejected as a means of recreation, instead being utilized primarily in weaponry, medicine, communication, and advancement. There were rumors their individual leaders may have had something going on behind closed doors, but it's implausible, right? Being starved of a means to document their histories for so long, poets, linguists, and sculptors worked together to preserve the past and present. Etched and carved into the very walls and pillars of their past prisons, visual stories and poems were told through elaborate carvings, murals, petroglyphs, and runes. While written records did exist, wordless and interpretive stories were often chosen as a way to immortalize the essence of struggle, opting to capture the emotions more than direct events. This was also influenced by the secretive manner the people of greed had to communicate in the past in order to hide from their divine and demonic wardens.
Thanks for watching. I don't usually make videos like this, but I would be happy to make more. I do a lot of fan world building, so I have quite a bit to share. Take care.